republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. So, City Clerk Kathy, would you do roll call for us?
Yes. Mayor McGowan.
Here.
Tom Hastings.
Here.
John Glando.
Here.
Ron Spears is absent. Stephen Harper.
Present.
Mickey Holtz.
Here.
Beth Williams is absent. Ken Ratliff.
Here.
And Tom and Beth both phoned in today.
Ron.
Ron, sorry.
I'm here.
Didn't
see you there now.
see him there. So, do I have a motion for their absence? Okay.
Make a motion to excuse Beth and Ron from tonight's meeting.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to excuse the two absent council members. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, so the meeting agenda, how does that look?
I'd ask that we make the following emendations, that a letter be read into the record at the, whatever would be the appropriate time, on behalf of James I. Miller, and that,
Yes.
and then, what are order of business? Forgetting. And that,
Sure, we can do that
And
under
then,
announce appointments, awards, recognition. We can do it
and then,
10:40.
yeah, and then also we have some correspondence from the WCIA that I think would be appropriate to read into the record also. If we could have those, I would motion to that we amend the agenda.
Where
to those
do we
effects.
want to put those if you do that?
Oh, you just
I
said,
think under announcements, awards, yeah,
Okay,
they just
Tony?
need to be read.
Okay,
for
we read into that,
information.
sure, all right, you bet, sounds good. That's a good place for them, okay?
Do you have copies?
I do have it here.
Do you have a copy of the WCIA?
Oh, oops. Well, I'll see if I,
Otherwise known as the Bounty House.
oh, yeah, I understand, I saw this,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so with those,
Now I'd take a second.
okay, it's moved and seconded with those changes.
I'll second it.
Okay. You can have this back. Moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes, the meeting agenda with 2 additions. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So then, under announcements, points, and awards and recognitions, I am going to read a letter that we got from Jim Ida Miller that we all have in our packet. So, Honorable Mayor Jay McGowan, Clayton City Council. On the morning of Monday, 13th of May, 2019, at about 9:30 a.m., I was walking eastbound on the 100 block of West First Street on the south side of First Street. I approached Pennsylvania Avenue and entered the crosswalk at First Street and the 100 block of Pennsylvania. As I started across the unpainted crosswalk area of the crosswalk, my left foot tripped on the uneven crack running through the crosswalk and I fell to the asphalt. I fell on my left side, struck my left cheek and eye on the roadway, which resulted in severe bruising and bleeding. My eyeglasses and watch were damaged as a result of the fall. I am not aware of anyone actually saw me trip and fall. However, a video was provided by Rent Me Rentals, which documented my tripping and falling to the pavement. Numerous members of the community responded to provide me with assistance until the aid car arrived and assisted me from the roadway. Aid personnel assisted me in getting into the ambulance and stopped the bleeding. I was informed some of the people present were Mayor McGowan, Police Chief Ferguson, Fire Chief Ed Mills, Nick Henderson, his deputy Bob Seeley, a nurse Debbie Guzzi, I believe that's how you say that, provided first aid care until the aid car arrived. Officer Nick Burson, Clayton Police, was also on the scene. My wife transported me to the hospital in Ellensburg, where I was seen in the emergency room due to the obvious injury to the left side of my face And in the area of my left eye, a CT scan was done to ensure there were no internal injuries of bleeding. Chest x-ray were also taken to ensure no internal injuries to the chest. My purpose of bringing this incident formally to the attention of the city government is to encourage the city to make appropriate action to repair our crosswalks and abate the risk to our citizens of injury due to poor conditions of our crosswalks. I understand that you are aware of the conditions of our street surface, and I know that resources are limited to correct them. However, public safety, I believe, is priority, and the conditions of the crosswalk at First and Pennsylvania need to be addressed immediately before someone else has injuries due to the poor condition at the location. I request my concerns be placed on record. Even a Band-Aid fix would be better than ignoring the situation because it will not go away. This is a high pedestrian traffic area. On the evening of 22nd May 2019, I observed that repairs have already been made to the area I fell, as well as other crosswalks along First Street. I very much appreciate Mike and his crew for their efforts to improve these damaged areas, which will put our citizens and visitors at risk. And Mike will elaborate a little bit on those repairs when he has a chance here. So that was real unfortunate that he did make that fall, and it was real fortunate that there was video of it. So we'll hope for his soon recovery. Okay, the other one I have before me is from Carlene Brown, and it refers to inflatable devices. And this is from Carlene Brown, who is our AWC insurance agent. I'm looking to see if it... WCI. I don't see where they really say who she is, but I wanted to make that point out. So it says, good afternoon, Kathy. Great question. WCIA has always discouraged members from allowing inflatables on member-owned property, with the caveat, if they are allowed, risk controls are put in place. With that said, we do have a guideline, paragraph point 27, inflatables with possible exposures and recommended controls. Some of the recommended risk controls are, and one is a Department of Labor and Industries certified amusement ride operator should supply, install, and operate and supervise use of the inflatable. And there's a website for that. Next one is, the inflatable has its annual L&I inspection and has a valid annual operating permit from L&I accompanies the inflatable. The operator must maintain a liability insurance with limits at least $1 million each occurrence, and the member is named as an additional insured. Consider requiring higher limits for events with multiple inflatables. The event organizer should also be required to secure liability insurance for the event and name the member as an additional insurer. If the member is the event organizer, and the member, that means us, the contract with the inflatable operator should require that the operator indemnify, defend, and hold the member harmless. The contract with the operator should not have language limiting the operator's liability. In addition, there are some areas in Washington State where inflatables should not be allowed, regardless of risk controls. Members in areas of Washington State that are known to have frequent, severe, and/or unpredictable wind conditions should consider prohibiting inflatable devices on members' owned or controlled property. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Warm regards. Thank you, Carlene. And this is sort of the guidelines from our on how we should deal with inflatables. I think it can be done. I think it's well pointed. So everybody knows, okay? Any other questions on that? Everyone? Okay. Okay, so now we'll go down to the consent agenda.
Move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second?
Moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So under officer reports, we're going to go right away with Police Chief Scott Ferguson, who has to attend to business here in just a minute.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of council. So this is the last time that I officially appear in front of you in an official capacity. As I stated a few meetings ago, I've had an amazing career. I've lived and worked in an amazing community, and I could not have asked for a better employer than the city of Cle Elum, and I sincerely mean that. I've been so fortunate to have worked in a job in which I thoroughly enjoyed it all the way up to the end, so I'll always be grateful for that. Before I do leave, I want you to know the position of your police department. And council, I want you to know that as I leave, the state of your police department is very good. We've made some incredible strides in the last 14 years. For starters, we've got some great officers working today, and they're great officers because they're good people first. They're good human beings. If some of you remember, officer turnover was a major issue for us a decade ago. Constant turnover proved to be very expensive for the city. So we've since corrected that, and we're no longer losing officers to other agencies. We've brought no litigation down on the city in 14 years, which again is a reflection on the quality of officers that we have working for our cities. And that's quite amazing for a police department to be able to boast that in 14 years. Probably the most visible improvement to the police department is our patrol vehicles. 14 years ago, we had 3 mismatched vehicles with simple shields on the doors. Today, we have a fleet of newer, professional-looking vehicles, all designed to look alike. And this is obviously a positive reflection of the city as well, because people see us out there. In terms of equipment, you won't find an agency in the state that has any more equipment or technology that we have as Cle Elum police officers. Our patrol vehicles have computers, cameras, scanners, printers, spike strips. And today you have to have cameras. You just have to have cameras in your patrol vehicles. Our officers are equally equipped with tools such as tasers and other less lethal devices. And all of this equipment I mentioned has all been acquired by staying within the budget parameters. We've increased the quality and number of hours of officer training. Each year we meet and exceed the state standards and are able to pass the audit. This is instrumental. This is also instrumental in no litigation to the city at 14 years as well. Another visible element is our newer police department that you all know where that's at, that we're very proud of. I literally remember 28 years ago coming to work in an 8x8 jail cell, if some of you remember that. We then advanced up to an old grocery store. So we've come a long ways, and we're really proud of the building that we have now. We've created an animal control program that's popular with the community. That program has partnered up with ARF and has done a lot of amazing things in our community, at the same time keeping our streets safe of dogs at large. We have an absolutely amazing and professional records department run by Cheryl Montgomery. She's very proficient in her jobs. You wouldn't necessarily believe that there's probably more liability up there in her office than what there is actually out on the street. What we decide to, or what we disclose or fail to disclose on a public disclosure is where a city can really get in trouble. And she runs a great office, and we've never been called out on that as well. And then very lastly, my understanding the city will be appointing Sergeant Kirk Bland as the position of acting chief until a final hire decision can be made. As I leave, I'm confident that until that time, Sergeant Bland is more than qualified to manage this police department. So I feel good leaving with him. Again, I thank you for an amazing opportunity and an amazing career.
Well, we thank you. We'll have a little get-together here when you're back on your feet.
Now, if you excuse me, I got to go to work.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
there's an incident in South Well, it's on the way. So he's got it. Okay. Then there was nobody here hardly, except Patty.
These
I'm just waiting.
these are important people.
That's it.
And then so is many cases.
Okay.
Mike here. Okay, Mike, you're up. Public Works, Mike Engelhardt.
Honorable Mayor, council members, as I stated last week, we have the new software in place that has the citizen engagement portion on the website. People seem to really enjoy it so far. To date, we got 6 citizen engagement in line from their personal computer to us with issues or situations that they've noticed that we've successfully rectified, and the people really are enjoying it because it's allowing that open communication and correspondence between us and them. And then as well, it's working internally with the system until more people learn about it. They still call into City Hall, and thus far, just last week, we had over 15 inputs onto it as well already. So it's a great tool. Staff is getting used to it. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, but we're working our way through it. As stated with Mr. Ida Miller's accident, that's unfortunate. However, that street, as well as 6 others in the city, I should say in Cle Elum, and then also we have 5 more streets over in South Cle Elum side, the Cle Elum side of South Cle Elum, that are already scheduled for chip seals. Unfortunately, we're on the county schedule with that. We are preparing them, hence what Mr. Ida Miller had mentioned. You'll see chip seal being placed down. We're trying to do a little bit of pre-level ourselves to get them ready to where when the chip seal does get put into place that it's as smooth as we possibly can without doing a mill and fill. And then Memorial Day weekend has come and gone, and I think for the most part I want to give a shout out to my staff for doing a great job. Cemetery looked amazing, and that's it.
I might add, the cemetery looked exceptional. They really made us proud.
Spruced it up. Yeah. Good job. Okay, we're at citizen comments on non-agenda items. Anyone wish to address the council?
No.
No.
I just want to look at you guys.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. Okay, so public appearances, we'll hear from Amy McGuffin.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Councilman. Tonight I have our reports that we usually give you each month out in front of you. I know the last time that I stood here, you didn't need to go over the information, but you have that information. If you would like to reach out to me if you have any questions, I'm happy to go over those things with you. For the chamber report today, I just wanted to go over a few things that we're working on that maybe citizens or council is not aware of that we're working on. So from a membership standpoint, we always are cultivating relationships with small businesses to try to support what they're doing and how they're doing things and using their tools. And one of the things that we consistently get a request for is our Upper County map. We haven't produced the Upper County map for about 3 years, so it's definitely due for an upgrade, especially for roads and streets that have been added in the Upper County area, and also the developed areas that are now developed by new housing. So that Upper County map is almost completed, so we will be putting that to print, so we should be having that probably before July. The other thing is we also decided from a membership organization that we tried to provide a health benefit program for small businesses. And so we were able to launch that in December, and we have had several people take advantage of the health benefit program. And the nice thing about the health benefit program is that you only need 2 employees to be eligible for the health benefit program. And we have found by talking with those that have gone through and purchased the health benefits, it's about 15% below market. So with that shows the credibility of Chamber as a membership of 500 plus members. That helped with that evaluation for the health benefit program. So not only does it encompass small businesses with only 2 employees, which can be a husband and wife, or it could be a wife with an employee, or it just needs to be 2 payrolled employees. So it really helps them that otherwise wouldn't be eligible, or they're eligible for programs that are astronomically expensive. So it's a really nice program that we've launched. So if you're not familiar with it, or if anybody is interested in sharing it with a small business, we've seen some really good benefits for that program. The other thing to update you with is tourism. Want to express our gratitude for your support with the fireworks show. We're really excited about bringing the fireworks. This will be the second year that the Chamber has brought the fireworks to Cle Elum. We're excited about the program itself because last year it was about 20 minutes. This year we were able to purchase up to 25 to 30 minutes. So it's going to be an impressive show for the Upper County area. So we just really appreciate you supporting by funding those fireworks, because it is one of those questions while we're preparing for Pioneer Days. It's always this question, when's the fireworks? How's the fireworks going to be this year? So it's really nice to be able to be proactive with that this year so that we can get it out in time for people to prepare for the show. Still going to be shooting off from the main location, so those that wanted to go to the Fireman's Park to watch it, they can do so. We're planning on an event in the Y Park, but the stipulations of putting that together just didn't come through. So we're just really excited about bringing the fireworks show this year. The other thing is we really look forward to Pioneer Days. As I mentioned last month, Debbie Bogart from the Downtown Association is now in her official capacity as the executive director. So it's been very nice going through that process with her to get her up to speed as far as the process of Pioneer Days. It's a very confusing celebration because Cle Elum kind of takes that communicator role, but really a lot of the activities happen out of the city limits. So it's an interesting celebration, and we look forward to working through the Pioneer Day Parade. It is a politician year, so we'll probably have quite a bit of floats and participants in regards to that. But we're also excited because we went after some additional grant funding that we haven't done in the past. And so we're able to seek out some what we call parade entertainers. And if you don't know, some of the largest parades in the United States actually pays for most of the performers that are going down the parade route. And so it's an interesting thing because we always did it volunteer. We always asked if somebody can participate in it. This time we're now going to bring some entertainers to bring the liveliness to the parade. So look forward to it because we've got some really good responses back that I think will just bring that parade one notch bigger for the small community that we serve. Lastly, I just wanted to update you on economic development. This is a process that we haven't really gone to full capacity from the Chamber of Commerce, especially in the Upper County, including Cle Elum. And so I've been kind of reviewing what opportunities we have, and what I'm finding is there is more I can't say that word. There is access to capital funding that hasn't been around for quite some time. So it's very interesting because when you unfold those pieces, it's projects that the Chamber has been involved in, but we just haven't sought after them for one reason or another. So we are included as the ADO, if you're not familiar. We're designated by the county to be the Associated Development Organization, which is a process through the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce is state funded, but it also allows us to go after federal funding. Some of those federal fundings are required by creating districts. And one of the things that I unfolded, which I didn't realize, obviously, is we have a district with Yakima County, which then allows us for federal funding. So there's some capital Small Business Association funding that is federally subsidized that we have not used full capacity. So I'm really excited about that because Upper County has some opportunities with a capital funding opportunity, not only for the municipality partnerships, but also small businesses. And sometimes that's the key to survival mode for small businesses. So we're really interested in that. And one of the things that's come to our realization is the importance of having a loan pool. That kind of scares some people away, but it might be that next step for small businesses. And so there's a company out here that actually made a business come to fruition here in Cle Elum. The Orchard restaurant would not have been able to do the things that they were to do on the refurbishing without what's called a loan pool company. And a loan pool company is a company that does high risk. They really lean on a certain mission. And this particular company is called Craft 3. And what Craft 3's mission is job creation. They can overlook the high risk if they know that they're going to create jobs in a distressed community. So the Orchard did take advantage of that opportunity, and that's really what got them forward in operation and opening the restaurant. So we've connected with Craft 3. We're creating a partnership, especially amidst your construction that will be coming into the downtown core. They had a similar project that they helped loan money in Spokane on what's called Monroe Street. And Monroe Street was closed for about a 5-month period. And what they did is, with partnership of the Downtown Association and the Chamber, is they met with each individual business to make sure they had the fortitude to get through a construction phase. So then once they realized what that business plan was, just in that small period, they could see what they were going to do. So from a retail standpoint, inventory is the biggest concern. Because if you're under construction and closed, what do you do with the inventory? How do you restock your shelves when you open? Because that's a big expense all at once. So they have created an opportunity that we hopefully will put into play before the major construction in Cle Elum, so that we can meet individually with businesses to make sure they have enough savings. They have an opportunity for a loan that might be a high-risk loan, but it gets them through the construction period, which is really important. Because what you don't want to do is kill the small business owner and make them work really hard through the construction, and then all of a sudden it's beautiful downtown and they have to close because they didn't have enough fortitude to go through that process. So that's really important for us. So we're looking at a loan pool with Craft 3 to give this opportunity. And that brings up to the communication plan. We're looking forward to the partnership with CETA to help communicate during the construction phase. And we're looking at some funding through chamber avenues to try to help CETA and match their funds that they're putting towards the communication plan to really go into survival mode for some of these small businesses that are going to be affected. And lastly, I talked about business planning, but we are going to expand our business planning and retention. I hope to hire a staff member that will specifically meet with small businesses to make sure that their financial planning is in place, that they are mentored through financial planning to make sure that they're successful for 3 years or more. Also, it includes how to market, not so much what's the trend, but what's the toolkit to properly use for your marketing. Because all businesses are different. And so it's really important that somebody that doesn't really fit the Facebook world has a marketing toolkit that's successful to them, whether it be print or radio or TV. But it's really important for somebody to mentor somebody through that without them exasperating their funds, and it just doesn't work. It's kind of it's a Debbie Downer for a small business when they spend all of this money and they're not successful. So what we're trying to do is kind of support and push these small businesses through some tough times, especially construction. Construction can be really hard on small businesses. So that is my update from the chamber. Do you have any questions for me? I know I kind of hit on some pre-planning stuff, but yeah.
Do you foresee large foreclosures in the main downtown of Cle Elum?
I don't.
Upcoming construction?
I really can't answer that because I haven't sat down and talked with people. We would like to really focus, but when I was talking to the Spokane Economic Development Council that was in charge of the Monroe Street project, they said that if they wouldn't have sat down prior to the project, they felt like almost 50% of those businesses wouldn't have been able to survive the closure.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to get at is the city has a vision for holdouts along the main street that happen a block at a time. Are you saying that the mitigations that you're saying would be needed in those small constructions, or are you envisioning a larger, faster rollout of those type of plannings, or of those type of constructions? I guess the type of constructions is what I'm concerned. Or you think as the chamber, as the downtown, are you guys envisioning like large swaths of our First Street getting reconstructed on the private side of things, or, I guess I'm looking for the scope of
No,
these
the
changes.
experience that we've had from a construction project is no matter how much you pre-plan a construction project, people's perceptions of, oh my gosh, the downtown is closed, you have to prepare for the worst. And the best way to prepare for the worst is walking through those doors, making sure that they understand each piece of the process, because of the fact that we already have confusion of this project, right? That's coming down First Avenue. And so for us to come in and say, hey, we're expecting this to be 1 block at a time, even though it's 1 block at a time, that whole stretch is affected the entire time. So it's one of those things that, yeah, we can do our best from a communication plan, but really the stress on each business is going to be that entire strip for that entire time. Even if they're beautiful bulb outs at one section, while you're doing that other section, they're still going to have a little bit of stress. So we're just trying to be proactive and just making sure that education to the business owners, because there is some confusion that we're already hearing prior to the project. So it's not anything of a negative, it's just more of a proactive approach to, A, make sure that they survive at any time, right? Let alone a stressful time. So.
I would say Mike will know pretty soon the direction it's gonna go. Yeah. We still don't know.
Yeah,
So,
well, and it's just one of those things that, we're really excited about the progress, but I think a lot of small businesses are confused of what does it mean? What, gosh, what do I need to prepare for? And, some of them, I think will do fine, but it's those ones that we just don't want to not have the process, because then we'll do it. But if you look at the mix in the downtown, especially in Cleon, we're going through the same situation. We're going to be proactive in Roslyn because there's some projects that are going to be happening in Roslyn. So we want to make sure from a small business aspect, we have a program that will fit any small business owner at any time. That's just a good example of something coming into the future. So, any other questions? Well, I appreciate the time, and I know it's listed on the agenda, and I hope the council doesn't mind. I hope I didn't take too much time, but I wanted to separate and give the opportunity to Debbie to give you the Cleon downtown update, since she is officially in her capacity. So Debbie.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Thank you for giving me this time. I want to pass down. Business cards are important, So it's been an exciting 5 weeks, I think it's been. Had a great transition process going on. I really appreciated not only the help from Amy, but from the chamber staff, from the city, and from everybody who's helping me get engaged here in the community. So I appreciate that. I'm getting my feet wet, so I don't have a lot to share, but I'll share a couple of things. You notice the hanging baskets down our streets, right? It's part of our beautification plan. And it's a joint partnership. It's not just a CDEC program. It's a partnership with the city. It's a partnership with donors. And we have a lot of people to thank, particularly Mike and his crew. They did an awesome job of getting the hangers up, getting baskets in at a very, very busy time, getting the Memorial Day prepared and everything. And so part of our partnership, as you know, was to buy a watering system so those plants can be watered, and we appreciate their help. I've jokingly said to Mike, if the guy can't do it, I'll run that little tractor around and water for you. So I like to do that kind of stuff.
be careful what you joke about.
I know.
I warned her.
This year we have a donor who purchased all of our hanging baskets and would like to purchase more. So keeping those baskets watered and looking stiffy is really nice, because I get a phone call. She doesn't like them, so and that's important. The other thing is that we were able to save some money for our organization by working through the Main Street program, and Amy saw that there were some for sale from Prosser, so we were able to purchase those, and that was a nice savings. They're able to use them on these light poles, but not on our new ones, so that helped us get the project going. So it's partnership all the way around for us. I've had a lot of comments from businesses and on Facebook for the flowers. People really like them. They're wanting to know, why are they only on one side of the street? And I have to say, well, there's only light poles on one side of the street that are that color. So, Pioneer Days is going well. Been meeting with the planning team about every other week. A lot of events going on around town. CETA is in charge of the Pioneer Village. That's what we're in charge of, but I'm collecting information on all the different events and helping to feed them to the newspaper. We had a good meeting today with the city around our event applications, and I think most everything was taken care of. So again, Kathy and your team, I appreciate that. Something that's coming up that CETA has requested, and it's been really helpful to see that happening, is we're going to be meeting with the city to talk about the storm drain project. More of what Amy was talking about, developing a communication plan for what happens on July when the streets start getting torn up. What can we do as a downtown association to help our businesses? What can we do to help make sure that people realize we're open and businesses are open? What kind of communication can we put out there? And also, what's the communication that both the city and CETA can do together in the chamber so that we all have the same talking points going on with this? I think that's really important. So that's going to be happening, and we've got Lucy and Mike will be at that meeting and some other folks to start taking a look at that piece. So I'm excited to be here. Just a little bit about me. I am an Upper County kid. I was raised in Easton for many, many years. So it's exciting for me to be back into this community. Lots of changes, but I enjoy seeing what's going on here and being a part of the change and the vitality that's happening here. So I'm at the Visitor Center. I have a little office there. I welcome your visit, your email, or your call, any questions. So please know that I'm here to work with the community and represent the businesses as best I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, so there's no business in public hearings, and so we'll go down to unfinished business. And the first one is ordinance number 1557, change of council time.
I think it's a pretty simple change, a one word from the word 7 to the word 6, and it would make effective our next meeting. Meetings would start at 6 o'clock, and so I would motion that we approve ordinance number 1557 and to strike the word draft and consider it in its final form.
Now, I understand at the last meeting that someone said that it wouldn't start until January.
No, it's something different. Let's go for a second on this motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, second.
For
Okay, no,
And
that's,
and then my comment is, I'm just to clarify it, because if I remember right, last meeting, they said that it had to wait until January to start it, and it wouldn't go until then.
So actually, I'll reiterate, our actual discussion was that
the date
that the
change.
date would change.
Meeting day.
Yeah, that the date would change and not, but that we would change the time now, and that we would change the date come January because people had pre-made commitments that would be, not effective in January. So the time we were going to change, and I'm proposing the change now. The one other, just to make 100% sure everybody's clear, there's just one Scrivener's error in the first. Wait, no, it's correct. It's calling out the normal 7 o'clock is what it is now. But yeah, no, our talk was that we would change the time now. We would wait to change the date till January. And I think everybody is in substantial agreement with that.
And the date he means is the
By,
day.
correct, the day of the week,
the
changing
day
it
of
from
the
Tuesday to Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
I
the day of
misunderstood.
the week.
Yeah, okay, the day, we're good. The 6 is fine with me,
Yeah,
as far
6
as I'm
o'clock,
concerned.
yeah.
I just was,
Yeah, right, but the day.
I would have missed 3
He
months of meetings.
essentially, he's got commitments on every Monday for the rest of the year,
So,
and so he would miss.
after the first of the year, I can do it.
we're gonna miss you.
Oh, boy, that was quite a compliment.
That's good.
It's been moved and
That's why we
seconded.
have friends.
Any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that. So now we'll go to resolution 2019-007, remaining a portion of South Glen Way to Hartwig Boulevard.
We talked it over
Extensively, yes.
extensively, so I make a motion that we Passed resolution number 2019-007, renaming South Cleveland Way to Hartvig Boulevard.
I'll second that.
And moved and seconded to pass resolution 2019-007. Questions on the motion? Not all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed, okay. That one's passed, so there's no more business. Do we have any committee reports?
John does.
Ron, you got something for us? Committee
Yeah,
report?
for events committee, anything?
I hadn't planned on doing anything.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee has met. I'll begin my report by disclosing that one of the applicants, some of the main people involved in the Kittitas County Basketball Club. One is my business partner, and another is somebody who we contract with for work in our business. But just about everybody in town is a patron of our business. I had disclosed that in committee, and there wasn't any objections of going forward. And so, before we give our recommendation, I'd like to disclose that I do have business interest with the people that have brought this forward, and see if there's any objection to going to my deliberating.
So he's asking, do we see if there's any conflict of interest
Yeah.
here?
Well, there is a conflict of interest. Does that conflict of interest pose does it give anybody uneasiness? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I think everybody's up in arms.
Okay.
You can see that.
I don't know
Right.
if conflict of interest is even
Yeah,
the right.
or appearance, even an
Appearance,
appearance of it.
appearance
Yeah.
of- yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the appearance of fairness part of it,
Yeah.
this is not a quasi judicial matter.
Sure.
And in a town this size, you can't help but have
Sure.
dealings with many people if
Sure.
you're on the
But
council.
I always like to disclose it if there's even a little bit.
And I know the same people well. That doesn't mean anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So.
So the lodging tax, and I'll give you the verbatim of this, Kathy. The Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommend that we, the council, award and reimburse the Upper Kittitas County Basketball Club up to the amount of $3,000 in the following areas. For an events host / DJ, for Facebook advertisements and boosts, and for a banner. And so the request was $3,000. We limited it to the events that we felt like we could, in the tradition of our committee, reimburse. And so up to the amount of $3,000 in these areas.
What does this group do? What are they?
Oh, they put on the 3-on-3 tournament downtown. We've got a lot of good feedback from businesses. One business, the Caboose, told us they had literally their biggest day, obviously, when this happened. So it's a big boost. It brings people in from all over. There's a little background. There's a similar event over in Spokane, and a lot of people are fed up with the huge, event. So having a nice little smaller venue to be able to come and be part
And
of.
this is on Pioneer Days weekend, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
right
It's on the
right
sixth.
after the parade, they
Yeah.
keep a portion of the street.
Yep. So it's great, gets our kids involved, and then,
Chocolate lines.
and then it actually supports our local, it gets our kids to be able to participate regardless of their economic abilities in here. It's sponsored by a 501c3.
And it does draw a lot out of town
Yeah.
families.
Yeah, and she filled it, her numbers, her stats were very well documented, all that. So that's our recommendation to council, and so I would motion that we accept the recommendation of the committee and seek a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the what would you call it?
The lodging tax
Lodging
ordinance that we
tax.
award and reimburse, their application.
Okay.
And the person that prepared the application participated last year and tore her Achilles during the competition. I was there.
Okay,
But she's better.
any questions on the motion? Otherwise, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anything else? I don't know, the last thing on here is.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
10:45.
Under an hour? What the heck?
It's still daylight. Sun.
You can stay for extra credit if you want.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks for the offer, man.
There's all movies like this.
So now it's all.
It just
now
depends
it's
on
all
how
set.
hot